In today's video, I want to make a response to the thread, has AGS given up on New World? This is an important conversation. There are people who feel like this, and so I always kind of feel this is a really good opportunity for us to sit down, talk about it, and hopefully help educate ourselves. You guys can educate me on any points or things that I'm not necessarily like calling out. I think there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot that we should talk about, but at the end of the day, I don't think AGS has given up on New World. In fact, this is the unfortunate side of the games as a service. Games as a service have the 3 seasons. You could almost call this video the 3 seasons of the MMO. The hype season, the grind season, and the complain season. The season where we all wonder what's coming next. And the longer that this season goes on, the more and more the sentiment will pop up. The more and more it has the risk of becoming the believable fact, even though we're all just sitting here waiting and knowing that things are on its way. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Brian if you happen to be new, and for returning subscribers, you are sexy beasts. And thank you so much for coming back and checking out today's video. If you guys enjoy these videos, liking them, when you hit that like button, it's not necessarily so much for me, but it does help out the video in the long run. It pushes it out to more people. It helps more people see it over the course of time, as opposed to just kind of popping up and then kind of disappearing into the ether. Also, I think if you guys haven't subscribed and you guys like New World content, I think 23% of you have subscribed. I think that's kind of the last numbers that we had. Thank you guys for that. And if you feel like these videos earn it, these discussions, guides, and more, that's a great way of also making sure that you don't miss a video. I like to post about New World here, and that's what you're going to get. So welcome in everybody. First and foremost, I think we're going to start with the roadmap. We know what is coming. We know what they've said. We also know that there's other things that are not on the roadmap that they are also working on, but they haven't commented on it publicly. They have said they are also working on something really big that's not a part of this. So we know that they haven't given up on New World. We know that stuff is coming, but it's unfortunate because we're living in this, when is it going to happen? And I do want to touch on, here, because I do want to cover what we know we're getting in just a second. But I do want to talk about the leaderboards, because the more I think about it, the more that we read the feedback, the more that we haven't seen really anything change on the PTR. My personal hope is that they would just honestly delay the leaderboards and bring them into the spring update. I think adding the leaderboards as a part of spring gives them plenty more time to really implement changes. However, if they do decide to go forward and push them out before the spring update, I think we will see bigger updates in spring and going forward. I don't think it's going to be the be all end all. It's not going to be a piece of content that makes everybody return. Oh, leaderboards are in. That's the one thing that I was waiting for. I personally like leaderboards, but I think that the implementation they have is almost kind of a half measure, not to disrespect the work that they put into it. I think there's good things on the leaderboards, and I think there's bad things on the leaderboards, and I think that's going to cause some drama. That's what it is. It's whether it ends up, we want to label it toxic or not. Every community has toxicity within it whenever you start to reach certain points. We talked about that a little bit already on the channel. I don't need to relitigate that video, but we can definitely jump into that conversation in another video if we need to kind of revisit it here and once the leaderboards are live. But let's focus in on what is actually coming. Spring 2023, we get the Forge Expedition, the Gear Set Storage System, the Springtide Bloom event, MSQ improvements. And we already know that's like Reekwater. Not Reekwater. Weaver's Fin and Brightwood. That's essentially kind of what's getting kind of those revisions. And I personally am very excited to see what those look like, along with many other things. They're talking about the territory changes. They're talking about probably some PvP updates and more. I think those are going to be really key improvements. PvP for me is something that's really important. I don't PvP much because generally speaking, when we're hanging out on live streams and more, we're just hanging out. We're doing PvE. PvE is fun. Not everybody needs to be into PvP like I like PvP, but that's just the nature of it. I'm glad that this game tries to balance both, but that's always going to be something that is constantly being worked on. Same thing with balance, same thing with bugs, same thing with all these different changes. I think I've seen people express concern, especially with the leaderboards, over botting. Personally speaking, I think that's a great way to find a bot. Like at the end of the day, oh hey guys, clearly you're a bot. You haven't logged out in 17 days and you're on top of the leaderboard. It's a great way of, I guess, discovering some of that is going on. But On that idea, moving into the summer, we know we get in Transmog, Rage Group, Sandworm, Elite Trial, Cross World, Outpost Rush, Summer, Medley Fair Event, along with many of the Heartroom Gyms, Quality of Life Improvements, etc., all throughout. What's obviously not on the list, we know we're getting mounts. There's a lot of things that they've confirmed that we're getting. We know we're getting controller support. We know that honestly, the words are that they really also do want to bring this game to console. And if they do decide to go that route, obviously controller support is important, but cross-play, cross-save would absolutely be a must. And we're seeing that already with Blue Protocol. We're already seeing that with more MMOs as they're going forward with that kind of strategy in place. And I think that's just going to be a really good thing. So on its core, I think we do know that content is coming. We're just unfortunately in this kind of wait and see. We're also not getting a lot of information. The current PTR is one that I guess is set to have some kind of update, maybe roll out with the leaderboards the next week or two. And then essentially it's the PTR after that, where the hype and the build up for what is to happen next is going to be that. It's not going to be like what we saw with Brimstone. This all kind of ties into a couple things: marketing and messaging with a unified voice to maximize the hype cycle. So I talked about the 3 seasons. Those also happen within a patch cycle. So within the spring update, we're going to see the same 3 seasons. Within the bigger, broader update of the year, we're also going to see those same 3 seasons. So you kind of have the mini and the the mini and the max different season in and of itself. So as soon as the PTR for spring comes out, you're going to see more excitement, more conversation. They're going to be able to share more details about what they're working on. Feedback, kicks up. It's not going to be like the be all end all, because the other thing you have going on within gaming is that there's a lot of choice. There's a lot of things that you can play. I've been looking forward to Lightfall. I'm going to be playing Destiny 2 Lightfall. That's what I do every February now, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And whether the changes in Lightfall keep me grinding on Lightfall and in New World, well, we have to remains to be seen. Usually I play pretty much kind of half of the first season, and then I come back and play the 4th season. That's just my Destiny kind of like cycle, right? But at its core, like, there's a lot of things to play. I'm looking forward to playing Hogwarts Legacy next week. I've been playing, Forspoken, and I've been grinding, casually within New World, working on getting every weapon to level 20 and been making really good progress. About to knock off the magical list, and then I just have ranged, and then we're done with that. So my grinding, my playtime is diminished within New World right now, and it's namely because I've done a lot of the things that I've set out to do, and I'm gonna. It's important that as gamers that we able to take breaks and play other games. I think that's a healthy practice, and I think if anybody's feeling pressured to play New World, that's a recipe for disaster. If you're ever feeling pressured to play a game, and this isn't necessarily like some third party is pressuring you, like we all put pressure on ourselves. We have those kind of pain points that we put on ourselves, because I'm guilty of this. Like, I'm not throwing you under the bus. Let me just throw myself under this bus, metaphorically. And with the idea that it's like I put these these goals to hit these things, and I always have to remind myself time is limited. Time is precious, and it's better to have community than it is to essentially be the best or the first in all these things. That's antithetical to my content creation quote unquote career, which, guys, I don't view myself as a career minded content creator. This is just something I love to do. I love making videos for y'all. I love answering y'all's questions. I love the fact that this is my kind of adult way to make friends. That's what this boils down to. And so the fact that you guys hang out with me on a live stream and voice chat is literally the coolest thing. I don't go to the bars, I hang out with my wife and my kids, and this is kind of some adult time with friends. That's how I always kind of view gaming, and that's one of the things that content creation gives me. Not this mindset that I'm going to be the next like Asmongold, even though people say that we look alike, and yeah, I am better looking, but it is going to be how it is. We're both from Texas. I don't know how that shakes itself out, but it is what it is in that regards. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that as a laugh. Hopefully there's some fun reaction to that one. But I'm going to kind of wrap this idea up. AGS hasn't given up, but we're not in the hype cycle. Whenever the hype is turned off, you don't see marketing, you don't see this stuff. And the reason ends up being is that with that unified messaging and marketing, it maximizes the cycle, right? If you were constantly being hyped, eventually, like, your body can't handle it, right? So it's important to have times in which that, just like with, like, I fast, as a FYI, there's days in the week where I just have a fasting day. And essentially when that kind of all boils down is like, that's really good for the body, the mind, and the soul. And that's something that I do as a personal practice. And the same thing with video games. Like, I also try to make time where I'm not playing video games. And I'm not a big TV watcher. My wife usually is the one who picks like whatever show that we want to watch, but it's nice to be able to kick back, relax, and not necessarily have to worry about it all that much. And that's kind of what this is. This is the time in which that we're kind of waiting. And I wish that there was more news coming from AGS. I wish there was a little bit better communication. But I know, like, as a developer myself, sometimes you want to wait. Like, there's so many different people who are working their butts off to try and delight and surprise us. And it's better to sit here and say, yeah, we do want to say something, but right now it's just better if we don't. And then that way, whenever things kick back up, all of a sudden you see more videos about it, more marketing, articles and things like that. So if you guys are worried about New World, honestly, the best thing I could tell you is don't be. If you guys are trying to dunk on New World, I mean, that game's been played out. You've been proven wrong time and time again, and you'll continue to be proven wrong because that's just the nature of gaming, and that's just the nature of these games themselves. Will New World ever, achieve the top ranking MMORPG out there? If it keeps putting in the work, it definitely has the framework for it. It has there's no other game right now that is doing what New World really is doing, and New World still has the capability of doing the other things that the other games are doing, not the other way around. New World can always get better, and they already have a visual foundation, an audio foundation, a framework for great, to really blow people away. Not that you have to agree with its art style, but if you're already here in a 10-minute video, like 10, 11 minutes into this video, you clearly have an interest, right? There is a thread that has you connected to this game somehow. And when it comes down to that, it's that, those other games do have 20 years of content. At some point, New World's going to have a lot of content. And since my voice decides to try and fail me right now, I think it's time to wrap up the video itself. I hope you guys got something good from it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this discussion. I'm going to go sit down and film the guide for you guys that I've been trying to work on. And there's a couple things that I just keep trying to get to. And my goodness, man, time, precious resource. Anyway, thanks so much. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. But until then, take care.